My name is Bethany Novisky, and I'm the director of the Digital Library Federation, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to our 2017 DLF Forum. I want to start by saying how wonderful it is to be here in Pittsburgh with all of you, here at the confluence of the Allegheny River with the lovely Monongahela, which join to form the great Ohio and roll to the mighty Mississippi. We're in the Steel City, once a great American manufacturing center, a bastion of labor unions and the New Deal, and we're in the city of bridges, literally hundreds of bridges. This is Andy Warhol's hometown and Rachel Carson's. We're in a city local folks tell me is experiencing a protracted renaissance. At least they are quick to add for some. It's the Paris, it has been called, of Appalachia. I grew up in West Virginia, so if you want to know where the Riviera of the Appalachia is, catch me on a break. We are, I want to humbly acknowledge at the outset of our conference, meeting on both ceded and unceded indigenous lands of the Mound Builder cultures, Adena and Hopewell, and in what would later become territories of the Iroquois Confederacy, the Seneca and the Shawnee. I say all this to encourage you, as we did last year in Milwaukee and the year before that in Vancouver, to spare a thought for the place that we are in this week and the many ways that it might inflect our conversation. So for my part, I'm up here at the launch of the forum to offer you my usual sort of weird mix of a benediction on the whole affair, a bunch of little useful pieces of logistical information, and my gratitude for all the hard work that is making the forum possible. So this is going to take about 15 or 20 minutes, which is good, while we wrestle with AV issues for our keynote speaker in the back of the room. And it's going to be maybe a little out of order, because I know that there are certain pieces of info that you like to have sooner than others. For instance, the Wi-Fi password. So the Wi-Fi password is ClearDLF. I also want to share a couple of Twitter hashtags that I know many of you will make excellent use of this week. The first is the general hashtag for us at the DLF Forum. It's the same every year. Creatively, we call it DLF Forum. If you tune into that today, you'll not only see what other attendees are posting, but you'll also get useful and timely info from the ClearDLF Twitter account, which you should all be following anyway. The second hashtag, which is DLF Village, is something that we started last year. And I think it's fair to say that we did not anticipate how it would evolve, or kind of how much we would need it. We have our biggest DLF Forum crowd ever this morning, with about 650 of you registered for the forum, including a lot of forum first-timers, as well as over 800 people attending all the week's events. But how many of you were with us last year in Milwaukee? Woo! Friends. That was something else, and I am so happy to see all of you again. For those of you who weren't there, we held last year's forum over the presidential election, with everybody voting absentee and getting together for viewing parties and waking up the next morning to a changed world. We introduced the DLF Village hashtag earlier in the week as kind of a tongue-in-cheek acknowledgement that it takes a village to put on an event like this, and that we should be kind of helping each other along the way. So folks were invited to use the tag if they needed to put a call out to DLF staff to run and adjust a meeting room's temperature, or fix a projector, or order more coffee, and also for broadcasting messages to each other, to the larger helpful village, say if you lost your scarf, which I probably will presently, or if you wanted, restaurant recommendation from peers. And we still encourage that kind of use. A lot of us will be monitoring the DLF Village tag on Twitter all week so that we know how we can scramble to make this a wonderful conference for everybody. But if you do a search for the hashtag DLF Village and scroll back to how it began being used last November 8th and 9th, you will witness the beginning of something that I have watched with admiration, gratitude, and respect this whole year long. And that is the deepening of DLF as a supportive and compassionate community for all its participants, and one that strives not just for greater diversity, but for equity and justice, and not to include more folks from underrepresented groups, but to find respectful and authentic ways to go beyond inclusion and get to centering the experiences of people that dominant cultures and states have marginalized or oppressed. So I have watched your growing strength as a group of practitioners from all types of institutions and backgrounds working in varied roles in the digital library enterprise, who band together with great purpose to make a difference in the world. DLF's mission remains the same, and you see it up on the screen. But there is an urgency and an animating spirit to our work together that has really been palpable this year. And I think you'll see it as people present this week, as they share projects and ideas and lessons learned, and as our various DLF working groups use the forum to share their progress, to broaden their reach, and to plan for the road ahead. So basically, I'm impressed as hell. And I think that there is nothing that this community can't do. So to that end, we'll close the forum on Wednesday with our now traditional panel and open mic discussion, focusing especially on projects that have grown in response to last year's closing panel's open invitation, which was an invitation we made to you all to use the DLF as a platform for community organizing. So that was a long preamble. I want to shift gears a little bit to some welcome, some thanks, some housekeeping tips before introducing our wonderful keynote speaker. So first, a hearty welcome to 11 institutions who have newly become DLF members. We are so happy to have you with us and grateful for your partnership and support. And I want also to welcome with great pleasure our friends and fellow travelers from the HBCU Library Alliance. The Alliance collaborated with DLF to put on really a super one-day pre-conference yesterday in unconference format for about 120 people, focusing on issues of representation in digital libraries and exploring common ground between DLF liberal arts colleges and HBCUs. As part of that, and through the generous support of the IMLS, we were able to offer 24 travel and registration fellowships to the pre-conference and the forum for people working in or connected with HBCUs. That program brings this year's number of DLF Forum Fellows to a whopping 42. So if you're here as a fellow this year, if you're an HBCU fellow, an ARL Forum fellow, if you're one of our DLF New Professional Fellows, a Cross-Pollinator Fellow through ERNL, Library Juice, or the Crest Foundation, which has been fostering stronger connections between DLF and the arts, would you please stand and be recognized, or at least wave a hand. Oh, stand up if you are so inclined. And here are their names on 2 slides. I think that's, I can't see that far. HBCU fellows, I think you're seeing, and fellows from other programs. And just to embarrass these amazing people a little bit more, here are their smiling faces as well. We also could not fit that on 1 slide, so we have 2 slides. Yeah, seriously. Thank you all so much for enriching the forum with your presence. I also want to express the thanks of all of us at DLF to all the volunteer planning committee members who have worked so hard to make this event possible. In fact, including the pre-conference and Digital Preservation 2017, which will take place after the forum ends, we had exactly 100 planning committee members working in various capacities on your behalf. 100. And here are the names of folks who contributed their time and energy to this event, to the forum, also on multiple slides. Thank you, planning committee members. And I want to thank from the bottom of my heart the hardworking staff at CLEAR and DLF who have been so dedicated for months and months to making the forum happen, who are working grueling days this week. There are lots of them, but a special shout out to Catherine Kim, Becca Kwan, Lizzie Albert, and Louisa Quasigra, among our other colleagues. And now I'm going to turn to Gabrielle Mihalick, who was the wonderful chair of our sponsorship committee for this year's forum, to thank our sponsors.
Hello, everyone. First, I'd like to say it was just such a pleasure to work with the members of the sponsorship committee and with the DLF staff. I'd especially like to thank Louisa Quasigra, DLF's Director of Outreach and Development, for her help and support. And so now I'd also like to extend a sincere thank you to all of our sponsors who made this year's DLF meeting possible and whose support allows us to keep costs down, provide live streaming, and offer fellowships. So first thank you is to our local hosts, Carnegie Mellon University Libraries, who supported the opening plenary and live streaming, go team, and the University of Pittsburgh's University Library System, who supported the opening reception. Our platinum sponsors include the Digital Preservation Network, who sponsored the preservation reception, and all of your yummy coffee breaks were sponsored by data curation experts, Born Digital, and Penn State University Libraries. I'd also like to acknowledge our gold sponsors, Adam Matthew Digital, Archivum, Artees, Ex Libris, I2S, The Media Preserve, Picture, Samvera, and then on to the silver sponsors. Backstage Library Works, Digerati, Digital Science, Lyrasis, and the bronze, De Gruyter, Legal Information Preservation Alliance, Northeast Documentation Conservation Center, and our fellowship partners, Association of Research Libraries, Electronic Resources and Libraries, Institute of Museum and Library Services, Library Juice Academy, Library Juice Press, Samuel H. Kress Foundation. So we encourage you to visit the vendor tables and to learn more about the sponsors and to play Sponsor Bingo to win a 2018 forum registration. Thank you all, and to all of our sponsors.
And thank you so much to Gabrielle, who was amazing as a chair, who actually reached out to us before we were even ready to start thinking about it to say, you're coming to Pittsburgh and I want to help you raise money. So that was great. And we have one other late-breaking sponsor, which is, if you look in the front pockets of your conference bags, you will find one of these cool little Field Notes journals. And that's in there because the Field Notes brand got excited about the concept of 19th century dime novels, and they sought out some of our Clear Hidden Collections grantees to learn more about dime novels and to base a little special edition on it. And we said, hey, why don't you send us a gazillion of them so we can give them to all of our friends? And they did. So, so thank you to Field Notes. While we are thinking of gratitude, and also kind of getting into the random portion of our introduction, I don't want to forget gratuities. So I want to amplify the thoughtful advocacy for housekeeping staff that I always see from Emily Drabinski. Emily, where are you? So 5 a day hotel stay. And now, more important stuff, bathrooms. All the restrooms on this floor, the 3rd floor, are designated as all-gender restrooms throughout the course of the forum. And because we know a lot of you will be mainlining coffee, we have marked the locations of all bathrooms, 3rd and 2nd floor, on our map, and that map also is tucked into the front pocket of your bags. If you're signed up for childcare this week, you already know where your kids are, I hope. But I also want to mention that for anyone who needs a private and lovely room in which to nurse a baby or pump, one is available for your use anytime, and you can pick up a key at the registration desk. Now, conferences can be overwhelming. If you need a little peace and quiet, you will find our quiet room is the Armstrong room. It's on your map. The quiet room is for quiet. I wish I had my favorite Amtrak conductor up here to give this portion. The way he says a library-like atmosphere is a joy to me. But so please, no conversations or cell phone use in the quiet room. There is also a time for being audible to everyone. And that time is when you are giving a presentation or participating in Q&A. So please, please always use the mics. And that comes at with a strong exhortation of our Forum Inclusivity Committee, who always do wonderful work in issues of accessibility for the forum. Now, while I'm on the subject of respect, I want to draw your attention to the Dlf Code of Conduct, which is at the URL on the screen. It is a code that was revised last year, not just to tell you what you shouldn't do, but to offer some guidance about positive ways to be, and I think it's really worth a read. People who can help you at any time in case of need are wearing white lanyards like mine. There are a bunch of us. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us in person, or you can call or text our new helpline, and this is new for this year's forum. It's open to you 24 hours a day. Whether you are like me, an Aretha Franklin fan, or not, that number is 732-RESPECT. And as I said to the group yesterday, if you find you need to call it in the middle of the night, please do. You will also find out what it means to me. So I mentioned the little mini agenda and the map that's in the front pocket of your conference bag. It's a fold-up one. Stick it in your badge, stick it in your pocket. The mobile version of the conference schedule is available at that URL I'm showing now. Each session has its own hashtag. So if you want to share the love, please tweet about what you're hearing, and also dive in with fellow audience members at this URL to find the relevant community note-taking documents that have already been set up. And I think we'll be tweeting out all of these URLs as well, and they are on our website, so they should be easily findable in accessible format too. The note-taking documents are a tremendous way to increase the impact of what happens here and to share with people who couldn't be here today. So we also encourage you to upload your slide deck to our shared repository, which you can find at that URL. Is that the right URL? I really can't see. Yes. Okay. All right, I'm finally on my last tip. It's for people who are attending working lunches or the couple of workshop lunches. To make it easier for you in a big crowd like this to get to your session quickly and eat while balancing stuff on your lap, we have ordered box lunches for those sessions, and you will find them stacked up outside the door to the working lunch session rooms. Folks with dietary restrictions are, of course, welcome to grab a plate at the buffet. We worked really hard to accommodate those. And also, just anybody, please feel free to eat at the buffet. But for people who want to get to their working sessions quickly, we think the box lunches outside the rooms will be highly convenient. And that is it.